Good morning. Welcome to the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. It is May 31st, 2024. This is episode 184. Does that mean I've officially hit the 6-month mark? I'm halfway through a year. What's 185? What did I say? 184 times 2 is what? 368? I think I've passed the middle mark. Maybe a couple episodes ago. Didn't even know it, everybody. So, the reason this is a travel mode is I am coming to you, or a travel edition, is I am coming to you live from Kingman, Arizona. And by live, I mean I recorded this last night, by the way. So, I am en route to Las Vegas, Nevada, everybody, and I will be doing 2 feature sets, one on Friday and one on Saturday at the Notoriety Live Comedy Theater, which I think I may have performed there before a couple of years ago. I think that's the venue I was at, and if it's the venue I'm thinking of, it's a really great venue. It's actually more built to be like a music venue, if it's the place that I'm thinking of. So I am really excited to be heading out. This will be a good opportunity for me to spread my wings, as it were, and stretch a little bit with this new material that I've been putting together. Speaking of which, last night, I was able to do a drop-in set at JP's Comedy Club, my hometown club, and it was an incredible set. The audience was so good, and it was completely packed. I don't know if I've ever seen it that packed. I've seen it really full, but I really think, like, every seat was occupied, and I don't know if I've ever seen that level of capacity. So I got to go up and do a drop-in set for that audience at the end of the show, and the comedian before me did really well, and so that's when I showed up. I showed up right about the time that the last comedian was finishing his set, and he was doing really well, and so then I got to go up to a completely packed house, to a warm, very warm audience, and do all of my new material. Since I only had 7 minutes, I decided to just focus on one element of this new set that I've wanted to tighten up a little bit, and it was really, really fun. It was so fun. A lot of it was, I don't know, when you're in front of such a great crowd who is just laughing and they're so much fun, it feels so much more safe on stage to be a little more impromptu, and to try to, like, maybe try a few new tags here or there, or maybe throw in a new joke here or there, because the audience is so good that, you know, for me, I feel a little bit more confident to, you know, maybe extend bits a little bit longer than maybe what I have been writing. And I had that happen. I threw in a few new tags on a bit that I have been working on, and I also threw in a brand new joke that I had just sort of thought of, and I think I had it written down, but I had never tried it before. At least I don't think I have. I don't remember trying it. And it was funny because I hadn't really mapped out. I had mapped out the set that I wanted to do, and I hadn't really thought about this one joke. And it's not a super long joke. It's really just kind of a setup and punchline in one tag. So, I mean, the whole thing is probably 20 seconds. But when I was on stage, I found that joke worked as a really good transition like just a quick bridge between two different bits that I have been working on. And so again, like being in front of a really great audience, I don't know, it just gives me a little bit more confidence just to try things like that. And knowing that if it doesn't work, well, it's not a big deal because the audience is really great and happy to be there. And I'm sure that they'll, forgive something that isn't like a killer joke or whatever. But yeah, plugging in that new joke went really well. And then I have this one new bit that I'm working on that's a longer bit, and I've really been trying to find out how to get the economy of words correct with it. Because it is the type of bit that, just based off of where I'm placing it in my set, it's okay that it's not like a super tight, like I don't get to the first joke right away. I have to put out the premise, and the premise is a little out there. It's not a super obvious connection as to why I'm bringing this bit up. And so every time I've done it, and I've done it enough to know that this is just how this bit is going to work, the audience doesn't respond right away. They're more like, wait, what? Huh? What does this have to do with what he's been talking about? But that's the fun part about it, is I then get to start to unpack this idea and start making all of these connections. And by the end, and again, it's a newer bit. It's only maybe about a month old. I've actually had a couple rounds of applause. Round of applauses. How do you pluralize round of applause? And so, I mean, I really love the bit. And so, but what I've been trying to do is figure out how can I manage this sort of exposition part of the bit, which I'm finding is a necessity. But how can I get that exposition as clean and efficient as possible so that I can get to the first joke faster and cleaner? So I've been working on that a lot. And last night it went really well. I think it might just have to be that way, because I can't really see me trying to insert a joke in that exposition phase. And again, we're not talking a couple minutes here. I'm talking it takes maybe about 30 seconds to just get everybody on board with what I'm talking about. The bit has to do with the Little Mermaid. And, although it was released again in 2022 or 2023, whenever that was, I don't think the remake had a big, I don't know, I seem to remember it didn't do very well at the box office. And the one that I'm actually thinking of is the cartoon Little Mermaid, which came out, like, I think in the early 90s. So, it's a 30-year-old movie that I'm calling up. So, probably the younger parts of audiences may not have even seen the cartoon. Maybe they have, or if they did, it's not like they remember it. And then, everybody my age, I'm sure, saw it, but it's not like it's relevant, at least in today's, lexicon. So, So once I bring up the Little Mermaid, the audience has no idea why I'm bringing it up. Like, they don't remember the movie well enough to instantly make the connection, which, again, I'm doing intentionally. Like, I'm actually glad that moment of tension and confusion is created, because it sets the audience up for me to make a connection that they didn't even see and that they know they didn't see. And so I actually sort of like that. That moment, and then just taking a moment to do a quick recap of the Little Mermaid plot, or at least the element of the plot that I'm that I'm focusing in on for this bit. So I've been doing that bit as much as I can to really try to see the most effective and efficient way to do it. And did it last night, and it went really well. So anyway, I recorded the set, just the audio, and I listened back to it, and I was really happy with it. I was really happy with how it went. I've still got a long way to go because I'm still really only playing with about 10 to maybe 15 minutes of a new set. And so to really be a headliner, I'm going to have to get up to about 60 minutes of material. So my production on new stuff has slowed a little bit. I've been a little more focused on refinement of the material that I have. I have jotted down a couple things, a couple ideas, and actually I had a couple of ideas mapped out on my set list tonight, but I ended up not having time to try them out. So that was last night, and then I'm still doing my CrossFit gym. I have never felt so sore. My hamstrings are in just excruciating pain, probably from the exercise Wednesday night was a strength exercise, and there was a bunch of squats involved. And then last night was another cardio night, which, I mean, it's a tough cardio circuit. There's 6 different exercise stations, if I remember correctly. One of them's an exercise bike, one of them's a row machine, one of them's this sort of ski machine. I call it a ski machine. It has like these 2 ropes that you grab, but it's like above your head. It's not skiing like at your waist. So there's these 2 handles above your head, and then you pull down really fast, and you pull down on these ropes, and the ropes are attached to this sort of like friction wheel or something like that. It's an interesting machine. So you're just pulling on these ropes with tension, and you start with your hands high above your heads, and then you pull them all the way down, and then you pull your hands all the way down past your, like, behind your butt, right? So you're going from, high above your head, like you just scored a touchdown, like the referee just said you scored a touchdown, and then you're pulling straight down all the way down in front of your body, and then you end up behind your butt, and that's like the movement, and you just do that over again on this sort of friction resistance wheel. And then like there's a treadmill part of it, but instead of being at like normal height, there's these handles almost down by your kneecaps, so you're like hunched over doing a treadmill run. So it's like a very different muscle set. And then you do a row machine. See, what were all 6? What do I got? 3. So yeah, you got the ski machine, the low treadmill, you've got the row machine, that's 3. Then you have an exercise bike, which you need to stand up for. And then there's one of those elliptical bikes. And then the other part, you just jog back and forth. They have like this long patch of fake turf that runs the length of the gym, which isn't super long. It's probably, only about 10 yards of that. So then you just do a sprint back and forth of that. So, and 5 sets at each station. So 6 stations, 5 reps. It's a lot. So I did that last night. I did the strength Wednesday night. And I'll tell you, my body is in a lot of pain right now, just especially my hamstrings, incredibly sore. But I have been good with not drinking any soda. I have not had a soda since Monday night, and my diet has cleaned up a ton. Also, in that regard, I have not had a French fry in 3 days. I did have a cookie after lunch. There was a crumble cookie right next to where I had lunch with my buddy Josh Novi. We went to Jersey Mike's, which is like a kind of a sandwich place, like a Subway, like a Subway sandwich place. And next door was a crumble cookie, and I'm like, all right, I need to have a cookie. I haven't had any sugar in like 3 days. And here's the interesting thing is, crumble cookies, they're not super big, but they're larger. And I was only able to eat about 40% of it, and then I was just done. And so I actually, I was going over to Josh's house to film another episode of the second podcast that I do, the Midlife Crisis Comedy Podcast. And so I actually gave the rest of the cookie to his son. So that kind of made me feel good that I'm like, hey, yes, I wanted this cookie. Yes, I was craving sugar. But once I took, 3 or 4 bites of this thing, I was kind of like, yeah, that's enough sugar for me. Which is encouraging because I would like to see how much of this body of mine I can get into a beach bod by July 20th, where I have a special networking event with my talent agency in Los Angeles. So, bunch of stuff going on here as I am pursuing my hopes and dreams as a stand-up comedian. And that is going to be the update for today. So I hope all of your dreams are going well. You are finding success, finding some consistency in the work that you're putting in to see these dreams come to fruition. So keep at it. I believe in you. I love you so much. Thank you for listening to the Paul Green Comedy Podcast on May 31st, 2024, episode 184. And I will talk to you tomorrow coming from Vegas. I'll see you then.